Hello, my name is Carl Surrey and this is a video tutorial for two Facebook groups, Fans of Serif Software and the Affinity Designer and Photo group. Now in this, it's not really a tutorial in the sense of having an end product, but it's just a way of showing you that you shouldn't be afraid to look at, download or whatever, some resources that are available technically for Photoshop users and possibly even Adobe Illustrator users, because there are certain file types that are universal to all programs, regardless whether on the Mac or the PC. Things like JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, PDFs. So if these resource packs are supplying those resources in those formats, then they are available to all programs, regardless of whether it's Affinity Photo, Serif Solder program, Page Plus, or any other sort of photo editing program. But also Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer will allow you to use certain Adobe only sort of file extensions, like the brushes, which I think is ARB, I think the extension for them, and Affinity Designer will allow you to use, to a certain degree, from my little test I've done, the what I think are Adobe Illustrator files, which is the .ai file format. So although a lot of things will work from these resource packs, I'm not saying that everything will, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, because there's a lot of good free stuff out there. So I'm just going to have a look at 3 different ones, and because I think they're quite good, but you can then, I will add links to them or show you how to get to them. There will be links in the description for this video, and I would advise you to try them and to even look for others. Now, before I go ahead, a lot of these resources or extras, be it like overlays, textures or brushes or what have you, to get them for free you have to sort of supply your email, which then means that you will probably end up being bombarded with lots of junk mail, but not always. Some of them can be quite good, but I would advise you opening, this is what I do anyway, opening a second email account with, say, either Gmail or Yahoo or some other internet-based email program, so you're not swamping your own email program with all these sort of junk mail things. It'll all go to this secondary email address. So for example, my main email address is the Yahoo one, so I opened the Gmail one, and whenever I sign up for something like this, I use my Gmail address, so it all goes to the Gmail address. And if I do like the later emails that I get from them, because like I've subscribed to one called photographypla.net, I then resubscribe to it under my Yahoo one, so I can continue to get their newsletter at my main email address and not worry about what's going on at my Gmail address. But this is what I personally do. You don't have to follow that, but it will save a lot of junk mail ending up and swamping your email address. I mean, I know you can spam them, but that's how I do it anyway. So certain files will work better in Affinity Photo, some will work better in Affinity Designer, and some will work okay in both. So you've been looking at this screen far too long, so let me jump ahead and start. The first one I want to have a look at is this let's go, no, this one here, sorry, is one by Chalky, and you can download a free texture pack by just clicking on this red panel. You can buy the full collection. I can't remember how many there is in the collection. I think there's like 12 different volumes, and you can get volume 1 for free. Now, what I will say now that is, at the time of recording, which is May 2017, these free things are available, but if you're watching this a year, 2 years, or whatever you down the line, these things may not be available anymore. But that's not to say you can't look around and find something very similar. So if you come down here, it does say, yes, he's offering volume 1 of 12 for free. So you'd have to pay for the other 11, and basically what you're getting is 20 PNG files and 1 Photoshop brush pack, and these are the different textures and the brush tips, and the textures and brush tips will look exactly the same. So you just click on that and it will start to download, and it'll download as a zip file. You just need to unzip it, and which is this one, volume 1 assisted paint textures, and in there you have these 20 textures and 1 brush pack. And as you can see, the brush pack has the .abr file format. So just to show you what these might look like, let's go with this one here. I'm going to right click that and then just go open with Affinity Photo, and then that is this texture that you could then add to one of your pictures, for example, because it's in the PNG file format. So I'll just close that. Now I have already installed the brush tips for this from this site into Affinity Photo, but I haven't yet done it in Designer, which I will be doing next. So it's the texture pack 1 from Chalky, and let me select the brush. So then it's just a brush tip like those. So that's basically a quick look at the textures and the brush tips. Let me just press Ctrl and Z a couple of times to get rid of those, and I'll just go back to the basic ones for now. There we go. And I will go to Designer, and I'm going to install those same brushes into Designer, just to show you how that is done. But it works the same way in Photo. So you just click on the Brushes tab, and a little icon up here in the right corner here, and then Import Brushes, and then all you've got to do then is to navigate to where you have them saved, which I should have. There we go, free resource pack, and then you have the ABR file there. Just click on that, click on Open, wait a little while for that to be installed, and as you can see it's been installed correctly. Now the thing is, a lot of brush tips on Designer, they will not be available. If I click on this, see they're not available in the draw persona. You would have to come to the pixel persona, come to brushes, and then that selection will be available now in Designer. Let me select the brush. So that is those brushes now installed into Designer. and into photo. So let me just press Ctrl and Z a couple of times on that, and I'll go back to the basic ones sorted as a called in designer. Right, so moving on to the next resource, free resource. This is from the blog.spoon graphics, and they're offering 10 free vector halftone textures, and it's basically these dots here, so you can make up a sort of like a pop art type image, and all you need to do is you come down to the bottom here, and then it's download the free vector halftones, and you can then download them. And so again, if I come back to, I'm sorry, there's a lot of back and forth in here, look, going between different pages, because I've just got to keep finding them. So as you can see, the vector halftones, they've obviously got the Mac files here, and they've also got the PC files. So you have all these .ai files, which I am assuming means Adobe Illustrator. So that basically means that it needs to be opened in Affinity Designer. I'm not 100% certain whether they will open in Affinity Photo as well. In fact, while I'm here, why not just test that, and I'll go open with Affinity Photo. See, Affinity Photo, it opens up with PDF options, and you have a representation of the screen there, and let's just see whether this works. Okay, yes it does. So that is now sort of a group, lots of groups actually within Affinity Photo. So I will get rid of that altogether now, and I will do the same thing and open this in. Let's try a different one. I'll open this in Designer. So in Designer you have the same PDF option. The difference here is, although it is still grouped, in Photo you didn't have this sort of bounding box around it. You may be able to got to it. I've not really tested it before, but you can then stretch this out or reduce the size, whatever, to fit whatever area it is that you want it to work on. So it will probably, AI files will probably work better in Designer, but they do sort of work in Affinity Photo as well. So let me just get rid of this. And I'll go back to this page here. Now this is from the same page, but as you can see over here there is a box, and this box opens up on nearly all the pages that whatever one you open and have a look at. It's quite a good site, this one, and this is one where you need to sort of give them your email address and subscribe, and you get this 100+ bundle. And it's got vectors, brushes, logos, textures, patterns, and a lot more. And there's also a link for it down here at the bottom. So again, so you just add your email address, click join, and they will send you sort of, I can't remember whether it then opens up automatically on that page or whether they send you the link to the page. I believe they email you the link to the page to where to download it. Now, to my mind, this is probably one of the best ones for you to go for, because it is fairly massive. Now, I think it took me about 9 minutes to download this. And if I come back to this one here, and it's called the BSG Resources Bundle, and if I click on that, again we've got the Mac files and the PC files, and in there you have actions, brushes, icons, logos, patterns, vectors, what have you. So let's have a look at the brushes first. See, even within the brushes, there's loads and loads of different types of brushes. Some of them are sets, so there'll be more than. Let's look at the spray paint one. I'm guessing there's quite a few different brushes in here. So I'm going to install this into Photo. I've not done this yet, so I'll just, what is this, brushes, spray paint set 1. So I'm going to go to the brushes tab and then import brush, and it's and brushes, spray paint set 1, click on that. Okay, so that has now been imported. So if I then have a quick look at that, and I'll reduce the size of this one just so you can see it. It just looks like the spray, the paint dripping down. So that is quickly how that, that looks and how that works. So I could, obviously you can, like normal brushes, you can change the colour and you can change the size and what have you. I will install it into Designer at some later point. I'm not going to bore you with doing it in both programs. But that's a quick look at all the brushes. So like I said, if you come back to the brushes within this pack, there are loads, and it will probably take you forever to install all of these. Now actions, we can't use actions in Affinity programs. They are for Photoshop and I believe Lightroom as well. But there are quite a few there, so if you do own Photoshop and what have you, you would be able to use those, but we can't. Next is icons and logos. Now I've had a bit of hit and miss with some of these. Let's try this sketch social icon, and then they got it in the 48 pixel, 64 pixel, 128 pixel. We'll go for have a look at the 128 pixel, and then basically it's just the different drawings, for Apple, for Windows, for YouTube, and so you can sort of have a sort of graphical representation of these icons. So have a look at this Facebook one here, and I will just open this in, let's try Designer. Because it's a PNG file, it should be no problem. It's been enlarged to 600 and odd %, but that's at 150%. So you could add that to your designs, be it a poster or a website or what have you. But because it's PNG file, it will work in both a Photo and Designer. So I will close that one and then come back to this one here. So there are quite a few different ones. Now this wilderness survival kit, it's got files that is .ai and .eps. Now according to my sort of description thing here, it says that the AI one will open in Affinity Designer and the EPS will open in Photo. I've not tried this one, so I'll try I've never tried EPS. I think it's a sort of PDF type file. Let's go. I'll go open with Affinity Photo, and I don't seem to have anything there. So I'll get rid of that and then try the API version in Designer. There we go. So it gives you a representation here of what is available. So I'll just click OK, and there we have that open. So I'll close that. So some of it, because they are missing fonts, some of it hasn't worked brilliantly. Like this font has gone over the edge here, but that's not to say that you can't use some. Quite a lot of these you could cut them out and select them and cut them out and use them in your projects. So there is a bit hit and miss as to whether these work or not, especially if they've got text in them because you're using different fonts. But I'll just close that a second and I'll just do a quick test to see whether this AI file will open in photo as well. I'm not so sure it will, but we'll give it a go. Oh yes, it will. There you go. So the AI files will open in Designer and Photo, so you can use them in either. I think it looks better possibly in the Designer format. It looks a bit more pixelated here than it did in Designer, but I'm sure you could work a way around this for whatever you want to use it for. Right, so that's a look at the icons and logos. Moving on to the patterns. Now you've got quite a few here, like I said before. Let's have a look at the carbon fiber pattern. See, these are all PNG files. Now I have no idea what .pat files are. I'm guessing they may be specific to Photoshop. I'm not going to look into whether that works in Designer or Photo at this present moment in time. I will leave that up to you to do if you want to, but let's just click on this one and I'll do open with, let's try Photo this time. And there you have what that looks like in Photo, and it should work the same in Designer because it's just a PNG file. So you can use this as a background or a texture or what have you. So I'll get rid of that one. Go back to the bundle here and look at the textures. And as you can again, there are loads and loads of textures here. And which one should we look at? Let's go for light leak textures. And then you have all these textures here. These probably work quite well as an overlay. Let me open a picture here. Open recent. Let's try that one. It will do. So I will then open this one. And then I'll select, edit, copy, come back to this picture, which is not really that good, but it's the first one I just picked. And then click paste. And I'll just resize it to the image. And then change the blending mode. I'm guessing screen would be the one that they were after. So that is how you could use those textures in Affinity Photo, in this case as just changing the blending mode. So I will then close that one, and I'll go back to the look at this last one, which is vectors. Now a lot of these, as you can see, some of them are Illustrator files and some would be, I'm guessing, Photoshop files. There was one, let's have a look at this Christmas sketch vector. Let's have a look at the JPEG version of it. There you go. Now, if I remember rightly, I tried this one earlier, or I tried to do this one earlier, and by loading in the AI version, and it took forever and ever to actually open. I'm guessing because there's a lot of information in there for it to work with, and in the end I got fed up and I just stopped it working. But if we go with this one, I will open this one in Designer. And as you can see, there's nothing there for it to work with. And if I click OK, I'm guessing it will open nothing. In fact, it's sort of, I can hear my computer working, but not much else is working, so I'm guessing it's trying to, you've got loading one document up here in the top right, so I could wait forever for it to open. So when it comes to these vectors, some may work, some may not work. In fact, if I remember rightly, when I did this one here, the safari animals, this one did work quite well. In fact, I'll open the EPS version in Photo. And that's it, that one does work okay. So it is a bit hit and miss as to what will work and what won't work in the Photo and Designer. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't give it a go. So really that is the end of the video, in the sense of looking at these particular types of resource packs that you can get. But like I said, there are many out there that you can find that were not written for Affinity Photo or Affinity Designer, but it doesn't mean that they can't be used. So I would strongly advise sort of going for this BSG resource bundle, which, like I said, you can get from the blog.spoon graphics, and just subscribe and give them your email address, and you get a massive array of things that you can check out and try. I'll just quickly go back to see whether, no, so that file is still trying to load. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cancel the Designer altogether to stop this going, because this may be going on forever. I don't know how long it's going to take. But that is a slight chance you are taking with using some of these files, because they weren't written for these programs. They may struggle a little bit to open the more complicated ones, for want of a better phrase. But when they work very well. So don't be afraid to try them out. Just give them a go. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.